Thank you for clicking on this Fun with Pete and Sherry video. I am your host, Mr. Julian, and today I'm going to be doing a double header for you. And before I get to these whiskeys, I just want to give a brief recap, since it's been a while, of sort of what my basic mission statement here is, and that is this. I am here to give you a concise review of scotches and, in some cases, Irish whiskey. Every now and then I'll taste a bourbon. That is to try to give you, the point is to try to give you the predominant tastes that you'll find in that whiskey, so that you can have an idea whether the whiskey I'm drinking is the kind of thing that you might like. I guess the ideal target for my reviews would be maybe someone who's standing in a whiskey store trying to decide between two, pulling me up on the iPhone and seeing, you know, which one sounds like the sort of thing you might like. I do not consider myself an expert when it comes to sort of using my senses to chemically analyze these whiskeys. I do not pull out 5 to 10 tastes per whiskey because I don't taste that many. But I do try to provide you with some overall impressions and the sequence in which I experience things, something which I feel is left out sometimes. Alright, now, getting back to the point, I'm talking about Jura whiskies today. Jura is an island that's actually in between the mainland of Scotland and Islay. It is a small island. I understand there's about 200 people that live on the island, aside from children and the very old. I think pretty much all of them work at the distillery. There are strange stories about things that go on the Isle of Jura, some of which no doubt are circulated by the Juraks, that's what they call themselves, in an effort to provide some mystique and sell the whiskey. Kind of remote. I don't really know exactly what's going on out there or which stories to believe. Are they really druids? Do they really practice human sacrifice? Are they witches? Is the whiskey flavored with the blood of virgins? You know, let's just assume that none of those stories are true. But what is true is that Jura is kind of a secret handshake whiskey. If you tell people you don't like Jura, you may see it as something as a strike against you, and that's a shame because it would be very, very easy to get the idea that you don't like Jura from trying their origin, their 10-year-old whiskey. Now, the whiskey, when I tried it, and my friends tried it years ago, we all agreed the same thing. It essentially tasted like a tarry sort of oil and decay, which are tastes which could be complex and really flesh out a whiskey if it was given time to grow, but that at 10 years they were not doing anything good, and that the whiskey was just kind of not great. And I heard from another reviewer in Scotland that it's kind of a joke in Scotland how much 10-year-old Jura is on the shelves over there, and I find that very hard to believe, because if there was so much 10-year-old Jura on the shelves in Scotland, how the hell could there be so much of it here? And there really is just a tremendous amount of this stuff here, which again is odd. I've never seen anyone buy it. I've never talked to anyone who drinks it, but people must be buying it and drinking it. I've never seen it in a bar. Anyway, that's the 10-year-old, the origin. What I'm going to be looking at today is a couple of whiskeys that are a little further up the scale. Where was I? Oh yes, 3 other products in the Jura range. Jura 16-year-old, which is called Jurac's Own. Jura Prophecy, which is very heavily peated. And there's also Jura Superstition, which is a medium peated blend of 13-year-old whiskey and 21-year-old whiskey. If I get a hold of the superstition, I will have an adjunct video. For now, I've just got these two, Jura 16 and Jura Prophecy. Let's start with Jura 16-year-old. Gentle fruit, peach, very much to the fore. Little plum too, yes, very much plum. Very solid, not much change, just a solid fruit. Do get a little of that, forest floor, sort of little bit of spring thaw, decay type smell in there, but it's pretty far in the back. Okay. Ooh. And very different than you would necessarily think. You're expecting sort of big fruity punch. What you get is very layered. Initially sort of meaty taste, and then followed by very bready, yeasty, estery notes. The plum really comes in at the end, and there is that, as sort of one of my favorite things in a Scotch, that sort of vibration that you get between the plum and the yeasty flavors at the end. Very nice. Those flavors that I detected from the tin, the tar and decay, are in there, but now they're part of this great line of sort of bitter and sour tastes that are rounding out the sweet. A truly nice, unique whiskey. It's not particularly subtle, but it's not especially overwhelming in its. It's not overwhelming in any one taste, I should say. It's not a sherry monster. It's not a peat monster. It's very much its own unique sort of flavor. Yeast and plum would be the little butter too. Buttered scones with plum jam maybe. Very nice. I'm going to give Jura 16 an 8.4. And now, Jura Prophecy. Nice little story behind this Scotch. Apparently an elderly woman was nearly run down by a horse-drawn carriage of their lord, who was a Campbell. And she said that the last Campbell would leave the Isle of Jura with one eye and all of his possessions drawn by a single horse. And apparently it is pretty well documented that the last Campbell did leave Jura and had lost an eye in World War I. So, of course, it's only the prophecies that come true that anyone remembers, right? Heavily peated, as I said here. And, wow, just at the top of the bottle you can tell that sweet smoke, that incense smoke that you get from like Ardbeg is there, but different with a deep, very soft character. Perhaps a little bit of citrus, lemon cakes, something like that behind it. Let's get up a little closer. Yes, not only the sweet smoke, incense smoke, and definitely lemon now, but now getting some of that yeast taste that I got in the Jura's own, the 16-year-old. Let's see what happens when we drink this. The phenolic, medicinal taste is actually much stronger than I would have guessed from the smell. It has a sort of a harder, peaty edge than I would have guessed. Not bad. That little bit of iodine as well. And very, very much after that, get a sort of a sea spray smell. Salty sort of smell, sort of taste, sorry. And after that, sort of a smoke and lemon that you got on the smell kind of come back to the fore, and that's really what you get through the finish. Long, 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 as you would expect from a peaty Scotch. Still, though, I gotta say, very, very different from an Islay Scotch. Again, going back to that sort of a unique character, the complexity of this spirit that I described as sort of tar, oil, tar, decay, those bitter and sour notes, meatiness, saltiness, all these things sort of give Jura a different character than what you find in Islay or Lefroy or Lagavulin or any of those. It's its own animal. I like the Jura Prophecy, maybe not quite as much as the 16. I give this one an 8.2. And with that, I will leave you. See you next time.